Hello, 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 and welcome to the Heart, Mind, and Voice Show. Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Hello, fans out there. We are so excited to be on tonight. We apologize for being a few minutes late. We have had some technical issues, but hey, we are women and we rule. So guess what? Those technical issues had to get out of the way. But we're so happy to be on tonight. We have an amazing show as always. Before we get started, we would just like to take out time to acknowledge a few things. First of all, of course, you know I am your girl Shalonda, known as Happy Bill. We have your girl Miss Kim, known as Serious K. And we have your
Hello.
Kenny, known as Queen A. Welcome, ladies, and welcome everyone. We have some an amazing business spotlight tonight, so we cannot wait to bring her on. And we also have an amazing special guest, and she will be on with us tonight, sharing some really good information that I think all of us, especially at a time like this, and speaking of a time like this, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge there has been so many mass shootings around the country, and it has been horrific for so many. I'm talking from family to friends to strangers, so many, and so much is going on. Until you do not, you don't understand where we are and what is really going on in the world today because it seemed like every week almost it's a mass shooting somewhere. So we want to take out the time to acknowledge those families that have lost loved ones. I cannot imagine. I have, thankfully, I have not lost anyone in a mass shooting. And I can't imagine, losing a loved one, just, going by their daily, whatever it was, work, shopping, or whatever. And then, they're dead. And so that's an awful, awful thing for anyone to experience. So our heart, our prayers, our thoughts go out to all those families. And we just know that, even in the midst of all of this, we are the Heart, Mind, and Voice Show. We know that there is a God. We stand firm and we trust and know that God is a healer and he hears and he sees and he knows what is going on. And so, we stand on behalf of those families that are going through, their loss. And we stand and we believe and we trust, for the comfort, for the healing, of your hearts right about now. And we know that, better days will come. And we understand we do not take anything lightly nor slightly. So we certainly recognize you and know that we are praying for you. Now, ladies, moving on, we have a very special business spotlight tonight. And so we want to go ahead, but first we're going to introduce our special guest because she's going to be on with us throughout the show. And once we introduce our special guest, then we're going to introduce our business spotlight. So, Tina, you take the floor.
All righty. We always have that special someone who enters our lives and that transform your life for the best, whether it's through a written word, a spoken word, just a hug or whatever. This person, she has come into my life and she don't even recognize and realize her impact as what she has come into my life. She is a sought out therapist to many, even myself. But let me go ahead and introduce her bio. Nikea Brown is a New York State psychotherapist and transformative life coach with over 12 years of experience working with families, couples, and individuals in obtaining mental wellness and healthier lifestyles. Nikea Brown earned her master's in mental health counseling from Nyack College. Oh, Nyack and Nikea sounds the same. She also earned a credentialed alcoholism and substance abuse counselor, receiving her training from the Outreach Training Institute in 2004. So she's been in this for a long time, y'all. She's truly a master. She completed the health coach training program at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. She is currently in private practice on Long Island, New York. However, she serves the world, where she creates safe spaces free of judgment for her clients to be heard, seen, and emotionally held as they do the work their soul needs. Due to the collective grief that we are experiencing as a global community, and yes, it has been challenging, Nikea leads group conversations centered around grief and bereavement. She supports finding meaning and purpose in the midst of transition and sadness. She enjoys working with people, seeking ways to adapt and thrive with coping with change. Welcome, Nyakia Brown.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so excited to be here, ladies. I am so excited. I couldn't wait for this conversation on tonight because I know it's going to be a good one.
Yes,
So
it is.
thank you for
I
having me.
couldn't
I
wait.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And
You
thank you
are
for that
so
warm
welcome.
welcome. Well, that was a warm welcome. I had to, Tanine, you got to come do that for me more often.
And let me just say, before we get into anything, Nike, I just have to say this really quick. She is truly someone who connects to your soul. And I remember at a conference that we had, Nike came to me and she held my hand so tightly, and she didn't know what I was going through at the moment and how I was stressed. And she held my hand so tightly, but because I was guarded a lot at the time, I cringed when people touch me. So
Lord.
she held my hand, and she held my hand just enough. She said, "This is what you need, but I'm going to only hold you so it won't make you uncomfortable." And then she let go. And she didn't even recognize that is exactly what I needed in the moment. And ever since then, we connected. She sat with me at a conference with hundreds of people, and she connected with me one on one. And she began to speak into my spirit. She began to speak to my heart and my soul. And she has transformed. She's a part of the transformation in my life. So thank you, Nike.
We need to have like this big audience.
Amazing. Yes.
Go ahead, Miss K. We're ready
Oh
for our
no,
business.
oh,
Go
okay, okay, okay. Y'all ready? I'm ready. Okay. I'm sitting here looking at her smiling, like, yay. Okay, so tonight, ladies, I want to introduce to you this special young lady. Me and her we met some years ago. We were actually church members. We always stayed in touch with our former, I want to say former first lady and pastor, but it don't matter what church I go to, I always say they are my pastor and my first lady. Well, anyway, the first lady, she gave me a gift, and it was candles, and she said, "You know who make these?" And I said, "Who?" She said, "Crystal." I said, "Crystal?" She said, "Yeah, you know Crystal from the church." And I said, "Oh my God, I haven't seen Crystal in years." I brought that candle home and I lit, and I'm telling y'all, my whole house smells so great, to where I gifted it to a couple of other people. And they were like, okay, one lady, she said, okay, these candles are essential. Give me her website. Okay. But anyway, Crystal is like one of the sweetest people I've ever met. She's very humble. And Crystal is a wife. She's Mrs. Crystal Nicole Phillips. She's a wife and she's a mother of two boys. She loves to travel. She said that if she could travel anywhere around the world, it would be either to London, Paris, Rome, Amsterdam. That's just to name a few. She enjoys spending time with her family, watching good action movies, listening to music, and doing a little shopping. She loves cooking and reading as well. If she could describe a perfect day, she said it would be to enjoy good snacks, have a nice conversation with her girls, laugh and joking around, just enjoying life itself. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you Mrs. Crystal Nicole Phillips.
Yes.
Welcome, Crystal. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. We are so excited to promote you and to promote your wonderful business, Candles and Scents. I don't know what person that, that does not like candles and scents. So tell us a little bit when you say candles and scents, because we know we see the beautiful candles. So do you also make the oil, or tell us a little bit about your business? Mhm. Okay,
Right.
you're hoping to add, you said hand soap. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. That's really good. Now, what inspired you to start the candle business?
it just started off as a hobby and something to do. I didn't think it was gonna be a business. I just started doing it for fun, made
Mhm.
candles and burned them around the house. All the so, oh, I love that candle, smells good. And then I started making them for family members. It was just for fun. And then my husband was like, well, you know what, you should just make a business out of it. And that's what I did.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations on that. I'm sure you are, people love candles at all times of the year. So I just know you're
Yes.
doing exceptionally well. Some of the fragrances,
Yes.
can you name just a few of them? Some of the popular fragrances for the audience?
Most of the popular fragrances I have that people really love is the cream soleil. That's just like a Kim love.
God, that sounds.
Yeah,
Woo.
yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
And mahogany seafood. Those are four of my most favorite fragrances.
Now, Crystal, do you make soy candles?
Yes, I do.
Oh, fabulous. Let me tell you, I love candles and I
Mhm.
burn candles almost all day. I remember when I was, I think I was like 21, 22, and my grandmother came to my apartment and she was like, she's very religious. And she was like, what in the devil are you doing here? Right. So she's like, and because I have all types of candles, and I love candles for different things. I'm be good to you. I'm be good tonight, y'all. But so she was like, why do you have these candles? And then I had candles with weird names, like for different purposes. And she was like, what in the devil? She was like, are you practicing witchcraft? And I'm like, no, I just love candles. So
Lord.
she went and threw out my candles, and and I was just too through. I told her she couldn't come back to my apartment for a little while. I know that sads my grandmother, right? But I love her, but I'm like, respect my place. So but I understood, but I love candles, and they serve such a major purpose spiritually,
Yes.
sexually. That's something, right? I'm just joking. They always know I'm doing something. I'm saying something crazy, but they serve a purpose. Like, whether you want to stage your home, whether you want to just kind of meditate, they serve so many purposes. And it's beautiful, and especially the spices and the different things that they put into candles. And Crystal, I checked out your website. I'm gonna order some. I saw a lot was sold out, so I know you're doing big things. But I
Yes.
saw that you make it out of love, which is so important. And I'm definitely going to be ordering. So
And I just want to ask
Yeah.
Crystal, speaking of what Camille was saying, as far as they serve so many purposes, do you make candles and maybe name them like this is a candle for meditation, this is one for. Oh, so you do. So is it outlined on your website as such?
Yes, I actually do have a candle called
Oh.
Ew. And it's
Mhm.
just for like you want healing and peace and discernment. It smells real good.
Oh, okay. Now, if I wanted to get our co-host Queen A, with can need a candle of her favorite subject, sex. Do you have a romance candle?
you know what? I'm trying to attract romance. I'm not saying sex, okay? I'm just trying to attract romance.
Licensed mental health therapist. We need some help. But anyway, well, thank you so much, Crystal. Did anybody have any other questions for Crystal?
Well, Crystal, I just wanted you to, if you have a candle near you, can you show them how beautiful
Oh,
your brand looks on your candle and how your product? Because it's really cute. I really like it.
It is.
oh,
Wow.
yeah.
And
Very
it's a
nice.
great, it's a good size. They last forever. Like I still
Yeah.
got candles from Christmas,
Wow.
and I burn candles a lot. So I still have candles, and she probably like, Kim ain't ordered it. Girl, they still over there. Like I'm still burning them. So you
Well,
guys, it's Crystal Nicole
yes.
Candles and Scents. Crystal Nicole Candles and Scents. And y'all please look her up. I promise you, you will not be disappointed.
Yes, yes, yes. All of her information is in the comments, so certainly look her up, Crystal Nicole's Candles and Scent. Her candles have a excellent reputation. So certainly now, Crystal, one more thing. Do you have any type of promotions or discounts that you're running right now or
I do. Right now, I have like usually ordered 25% off right now, and then I have one that's coming up for the Tauruses. For Taurus, it's buy two get one half off.
okay, gotcha. So you all heard the discounts. They will be in the comments. All of her information will be in the comments. Crystal, thank you so much. We wish you nothing but the very best in your business, and we will be ordering.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you. Have a
Crystal.
great
Thank
Bye.
you. Good
night. All right, ladies. Are y'all ready to
Awesome.
get down? Get down?
Oh, I'm ready.
Well, tonight we have a great show lined up. We have a show that will really and it will truly touch our heart and the mind through our transparency. But before we get started on our topics, we want to talk about our hot topic. Every time we show up, we have to talk about what's going on. And so tonight we want to talk about something a little different, maybe cause a little, controversy, but hey, that's what we do. So let's go ahead and get started with our hot topic. We want to talk about open relationships because we got this idea from the comedian, well-known comedian Michael Blackson and his current, or should I say, one of his current girlfriends, which is a realtor. I can't remember her name, but um, as you can see on the screen, there they are. And they are currently in an open relationship. So, according to their words on a national talk show this week. So, I just want to definitely talk to the audience and talk to my co host and our special guest tonight about open relationships. I'll give my quick, opinion and thought on how I feel about open relationships. Absolutely no. And that's all I have to say. Now, moving on. Queen A, Serious K, what do you think about that? An open relationship, they are perfectly fine with it. Perfectly fine with it. So, what do you guys think? Go
Well,
ahead.
I'm going to try to keep this short because I definitely want to hear from my guests as well in Series K. But
Absolutely.
I was watching on the reel the other day, and they had Michael and his girlfriend on the show, and I was watching the body language. I don't look at what's just being said, but also just how they move and the emotions and how they speak it and so forth. And and she was okay with him being involved with other women, and she indicated that at times she was not happy with the woman that he brought home. So she would say, "Go and enjoy yourself, and I'll leave." And just hearing it, she said that, that's just the norm for that, especially going on in the world today. And it was just very interesting because it seemed like just watching her body language, it seemed like she wasn't okay with it. Yes, a lot of people are doing it. It's like the question is, are you really okay with it? Are you doing it just to be loved, just to stay, connected with someone, maybe for security purposes? But the question really is, are you truly okay with it? So,
Serious K, what do you think?
Uh, this is my thing. Why say I'm in a relationship and then go open relationship? Open and relationship just don't even go together, okay? Sounds like to me he's a very selfish man. Now, I know he's from Ghana. I don't know. Okay, Africa is a whole continent, so I don't want to say African. Okay, certain countries in Africa, they do practice where you can have many wives and stuff like that. So I don't know if there's something that he does within his family, and he thinks that this is okay. And young lady, I think she's herself short because she's beautiful. Well, she's not a young lady because they said she's like 50 years old, so that's still fairly young. But anyway, but she's beautiful. I mean, why even entertain this with this guy? I mean, she has things going on for herself. She seems like she's a brightly. I love Michael Blackson as a comedian. As a matter of fact, he's one of my favorite comedians. But an open relationship, no, I couldn't do it. How nasty! I mean, you know what's going on. People are doing all this. They call themselves. I mean, I'm just saying they got these new words for stuff. I love this person. I'm in the bed with that person. I don't care who they are or what they do. I'm just okay. And so she don't know who he's laying with. You know, I couldn't do it. I mean, more power to him, but I couldn't do it.
Woo. Special guest Nakia, please help us out.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Well, you know what? This is such an interesting topic when it comes to open relationships and everything that I hear you all saying. You know about how a person is or what they need to have from a relationship. That's oftentimes what I ask. Like, what is it? Why did you show up in this relationship? What is it that you desire to have or receive from this person? Right? What was your vision for being in this relationship with this person? You know, and you really have to search that. So do some soul searching for yourself to really seek the right answers. Because if he is serving a purpose for her, then she has to really be clear about what purposes he is serving for her. And the same thing for him. What purpose is she serving? Because if you're in an open relationship, then where's the commitment? What are you all building together? What's the, like I said, what is the vision for the relationship? You know, and so we have to really look at relationship in its purpose is serving. You know, but if they're fulfilling their purpose out of the relationship, then that's what they came there for. I often say that why did you two come together? For what purpose? You know,
Yeah.
if it's sexual encounters, then that's what it could be. You
Yeah.
know, this is a sexual relationship, right? If it was really to build something, then we have to look at the building part. But with any relationship, when they say open, I'm like, where's the agreement? What are we agreeing to?
Wow.
Exactly.
You know? And so we have to look at that. And with any relationship, I wonder do they have boundaries within their open relationship? You know,
Yeah.
you know, like a serious case said, you know, there's a lot of things going on out here. We're in a pandemic on top of that, you know. So
Yes. Yes.
what does that mean? You know, as far as like, is it safe? How safe is an open relationship these days? I don't know. I don't know. So
You
it's all
know.
this is different things to take in consideration. You know, we're in a pandemic. Last time I heard. So
You know, Nikia and you all, I'm glad that you mentioned that. And Nikia, I love her because she always bring a deeper revelation, like make you really think. And Series K, you know, especially what you said about, you know, the relationship aspect. And it's like, you know, we're not here to judge. We don't certainly want to judge. Yes, there's people lifestyles. But I always like to paint a picture, right? And just think about this because sex is spiritual. And this, you know, and it's and when you think about it, right? Sorry, y'all. You know, Nike, she know me anyway. But you know, I'm graphic. But think about this, right? Just to paint the picture, because it's all sexual all spiritual was being intertwined. So you involved with one person, and it's some juices flowing and being mixed up, and then you go into another, those same juices being mixed up, and it's like those juices is carrying like cells, and cells have memories. And it's like you're carrying those spiritual cells into something, and then you're wondering why, like, so, you know, she probably like the woman that he was involved with probably was like, I don't want her here. Next thing you know, she's feeling a certain way, like, I don't want to be here because the cells have mixed. Now those cells is traveling to memory. And it's just, you know, it's just a bunch of stuff like you know, it's just, I mean, I don't want to judge, but just, you know, again, like Nike said, is the agreement and what's their agreement. And if, you know, everybody has boundaries. So, and everybody have certain agreements that we may not understand. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. It is interesting. Even watching them talk about it. And when you mention her body language, You could tell she was kind of uncomfortable talking about it, and then she was. They're going to be on a show. I think it's called. Well, anyway, they're going to be on a reality show. Give it any credit, but a reality show, and it's going to be dealing with couples and stuff. And yes, the couples that are on there are all out in the in the media. They're on TV. They're on other shows that are okay, more so I would say, with open relationships. But speaking of having boundaries, and then what's the vision, the purpose behind that open relationship? What's wrong with just being friends, and if y'all have that type of friendship connection that you can mingle and tingle, then that's, because, and every type of um, relationship serves a purpose. But when a man and a woman get together and say they're a couple, but they're in an open relationship, that's because you do not satisfy his or her. Not just you satisfy my appetite. And we know what appetite that is. Because you can do business. I mean, you can do being a married person. Serious K, you're married and you have a business, and you can do business with other people. Maybe have a huge shop and you want to invite barbers to come in, as well as your stylists, your hairstylists, the ladies, and most of the ladies. And so you can do business with the opposite sex all day, and it's strictly business. But when we say we're a couple, but we're in an open relationship, that word "open" by itself signifies if he finds her attractive, or if I find him attractive, then I am open to being intimate, romantic, however I want to be with him. So that's the main purpose that are open, according to the world. I don't see open relationship nowhere, on the spiritual side. But hey, according to what the world says an open relationship is, it means that I can have more than one intimate partner. Now, if there's another definition out there, please educate me when it comes to a couple saying that they have an open relationship, because you can throw in my face, oh, that means we can do business with whomever we want. Right. You can do that also, in a closed relationship. Oh, well, we want to have other opposite sex friends. Right. And it's okay. Your husband may work with female directors or whatever. You, like I said, you may have barbers in your shop. So yeah, and you guys talk about things that's going on in the world. A friendly conversation. So yeah, that's okay. But when we're dealing with the openness with couples, that serves one purpose in particular, and we all, as adults, we know what that purpose is. So I'm glad you guys highlighted that. So heart, mind, and voice, what an open relationship is all about when it comes to couples. And like Queen A said, we're not here to judge, but if you feel like that works and that can rock your boat, have at it. But, be mindful of wanting your peace. If you want to go a little deeper, like Queen A say, about, I don't know how many people believe in, because I know many have heard of soul ties, but I don't know how many people believe in that. So it's good to research, to read, to listen when you're being taught about certain things. And if you don't believe it, look it up, Google it, research it, and see, how much validity that particular subject has. So, well, we're going to get into some more, enough of that. We're going to get into something more deeper and more heartfelt, and what a lot of us are doing today. And that is on the topics of having closure behind relationships. I'm talking from maybe going through a divorce, having closure with boyfriend, girlfriend, having closure with maybe you and your parents may have had fights, and just y'all haven't settled that, from any type of relationship, from A to Z. Sometimes we cannot get closure on our relationships, and it affects us. It affects us in life. It kind of make us feel a little stuck. It seemed like it stopped, stop us along the journey. So closure is very important. And it's very unfortunate that a lot of times we have to get closure from ourselves. And so that comes along with forgiveness. And forgiveness is one of those F words that is We can say it. It's easier said than done because people can hurt you to the core to where it can take years to forgive that individual. So we're going to talk about a little bit of that tonight. How forgiveness is for you, not so much as the other person, but it's for you to have cleansing of your soul and spirit, and for you to have peace of mind and be able to succeed in life the way that God has, planted you to succeed. So we're going to go ahead and get started with that. And I just want to, I want my co-host to give me a little something on that, and we're going to go to our licensed mental health therapist that's going to help us out because I'm sure I know I need some closure. So I just want to hear a little back from Queen A and Serious Kate. Let me know what you think about the closure. If you have any questions for Nakia, let's hear what you got. Queen A, go ahead.
So I just want to mention to everyone first to like, share, and subscribe. We want to say hello to our previous members and audience that came on before. Hello, hello, welcome back. But again, like, share, subscribe. I'm going to be doing giveaways as well. But I just want to say really quick, because I just want to give the floor to our guest.
Yes,
And Miss K, by the way, she is also studying psychology. So I'm sure she has a lot to add on this subject. But I just want to say really quick that it's important to forgive because if you don't forgive or you don't close that door, what happens is you repeat cycles. So sometimes, like you have closed. You thought you have closed the door to the past, but inside you hovering over those feelings of regret, of remorse, of bitterness, of anger. And what happens is when someone is trying to come into your life, what happens? Like you just keep hitting against a wall thinking that you're making progress, but it's hard for something to really come in and begin to connect. So then you begin to create the same cycles, and you wonder why sometimes where you keep repeating, like if you still having financial issues after so many years, if you still not in a relationship after so many years, and every relationship that's come into your life, it keeps ending, and it's just cycles of what's going on because you have not brought in closure. So forgiveness and closure is so important, and the Bible speaks so much about it. And even like gurus, they speak so much about it. So I can tell my whole story around it, but I'm not. I want to give the floor to our licensed therapist. She's going to be amazing with the subject, but it's important to do so.
yes, it
Yes.
is. Serious Kate, what's your point?
Forgiveness, for me, I'm not one of those people that hold on to something for a long time. Like I don't hold grudges. So it's almost easy for me to forgive. And I've had some very traumatic things happen to me. Uh, it took me a while, but I did eventually forgive. And for me, forgiveness is important because forgiveness, people don't understand the stronghold that forgiveness has on you. Like you become emotionally tied to that person. That's a form of control. When that person walks in the room, they control your emotions and they
Mhm.
control you, just their very existence. When they come in, you walk out. So that's control. They're
Mhm.
sending you home. So we have to learn how to let those people go, let those
Yes,
emotions go. Forgive them for whatever they did. And another thing, I think the hardest person that it was for me to forgive was myself.
Oh
Myself.
yes.
That's
yes,
crazy. I'm telling you, I can forgive. You can cuss me out. I can cuss you back out, and then I forgive you. Okay. But myself, I'll sit there and I'll ponder, and I can't sleep, and I'm like, oh, why did I do that? Oh, I'm so hard on myself. But I can forgive others easily. This is my thing about forgiveness. I mean, like you all said, forgiveness is for you, not the other person. You have to be free. You have to be able to live. You have to be able to go on. Forgiveness is freedom. I look at
yes,
forgiveness as freedom. Freedom from people. Free
yes,
yourself from people. Get closure. Get free. Forgive.
yes, yes. Nakia, help us out.
So listen. This is great. This is a great conversation because especially serious K is saying, and can if we don't forgive, we get stuck, and I call it holding patterns. you can find yourself in these holding patterns that you're like, why is things not happening? Why am I not seeing the movement or the progress that I want to see in my life? It's because you're in a holding pattern. You, as um, Queen A, I love these. Listen, Queen A, you hit it right in the head when you said, you continue to do the same thing, repeat, 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 until that thought pattern is interrupted. Right? We have to interrupt these patterns in order to have a different experience. And when you find yourself walking to the same experience, interacting with the same people the same way, it's because you're in this holding pattern and you're not getting the results that you desire. And truth be told, you're not going to walk into the promise that God has for you or the destiny that you know you're to have. And so
Yeah.
forgiveness is at the foundation of the walk, the journey. And so one of the main things that one of the things I often encourage my clients to do is really get into articulation about what they feel and how they feel they've been wrong. The first thing is the real communication of what you're feeling and what happened. And oftentimes it's about us going, we got to take the journey back. I do the work of taking a journey back, because we have to visit the past in order to get reconciled to the present so that you can really have the future that you desire to have. And that's the work that we do. You have to be willing to do that work, which is back. Because oftentimes many of us have younger selves that didn't have the opportunity to articulate themselves. Let me say it again. Many of us have younger selves that didn't have the opportunity to articulate themselves. Whether when they were younger, they didn't feel safe. When they were younger, they didn't feel like they had someone to truly listen to them. When they were younger, they didn't know where to find the real support that they needed. Well, guess what? Right now is the time to be able to go to that space, that past, and do the work. And that's when specialists come in, like myself, to help you, assist you, and traveling back, right?
Yeah.
So that you begin to reconcile, and give that voice to that younger self, that 5-year-old that maybe she didn't know how to speak at the time and articulate what she was experiencing, right? That 13-year-old self that didn't have the words to put together to really express themselves, right? And so this is a time because if we know that we're operating out of those emotions of yesteryears, we're going to continue to have challenges in the right now and in our future.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
very
So,
true. Go
Nike, let me ask
ahead.
you a quick question. How does one identify that? Because some people may not some people may not realize or aware that they are in a holding pattern. And some people may not be aware that they keep going into the same thing and same cycles. But so many people are stuck and not even realizing it. So how does one identify that they're even in a holding pattern?
Great question. Well, one of the things is to see what am I saying that I desire to have, and if I continue to find myself taking the wrong pathway to that space, then we may need to get get some support around achieving those goals. And sometimes we simply need someone to be in. We just need a safe space, right? And have someone to hold a mirror up and reflect back to us and say, "Well, you say you want this, but yet you're doing that." You say you want
Right.
that, but yet you're doing this. So tell me how is this adding up? And sometimes we really have to be challenged. It's like, you know what? I don't know. I don't know. Like I really didn't see myself in a holding pattern because we're not necessarily in a holding pattern because that's what we want to be in. Sometimes we're not aware of it, like you said, Kenny, and or we don't know how to interrupt the pattern. And so it takes someone outside of ourselves to insert or give a recommendation or suggestion of how I may do it differently. And then it to hold me accountable for what I said I'm willing to do. So if I come to you and say, I want to see change, Janine, I really do, and you insert an opportunity for me to do it differently, and you tell me to try it on and see how it works, and I have to come back to you and give a report, right? To see how I did, right? To see what worked or what didn't work for me. Then I have the opportunity to get practice in doing it differently. And because I'm doing it differently, a new result, a new outcome has to show up because guess what? I made a choice to do it differently.
Yeah.
And so there's an impact from me just making a choice of doing it differently and actually doing it, as opposed to just thinking about it. And that's why community is so important and having someone to walk you through it because it's not easy to make change and you need people to cheer you on along the way, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's
That's good.
important to be acknowledged, when it's something that's so difficult. And
Yeah.
and to other people, it may seem like, oh, that's easy. Just do that. No, 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 no. When you've been in a holding pattern for so long and you don't know where to land and you don't have a safe space to land, you tend to do what's familiar and to
Yeah.
stay in a
Yeah.
space that's been holding you for so long.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I would say this, wouldn't you say, Nakia, that forgiveness itself, to forgive, is a process. And there are steps in that process that you have to take. And I would definitely agree with Sirius K that when she mentioned that forgiving yourself is, for me, that's definitely the hardest thing. And it seemed like, I don't know if it should be the first step. I know that just forgiveness, period, you taking a step towards forgiveness, whether it's with you first or with that individual that did harm to you in some way, form, or fashion. But just forgiving, period, taking that step, I would think, just with my own personal experience, that forgiving yourself first, because it seems like once you can forgive yourself first, you have that clearance to be open, to begin to forgive the person that actually hurt you. Because when you can't forgive that person that actually hurt you, but yet you're still going around in a circle, you're still in that hole because you haven't forgiven yourself. You're still like, well, if I hadn't done this, if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't said it like that, if I had, it's always if you always go back in your mind and think about what you did or what happened or what was, conveyed, what was, done at that particular time. So I think that with forgiving yourself, but I know with you being an expert and dealing with people every day, that has some type of issue with forgiveness, in some way. What would you suggest? And I know that just forgiveness alone is great, but what would you suggest as far as what you would, suggest or recommend or encourage your clients to do first?
Absolutely. Great question. Well, first things first is that recognizing that in the moment when
Mhm.
that situation or circumstances happened, you did the best that you could given the circumstances and the situation in which you had to work with, right?
Mhm.
Given
Mhm.
Right.
the emotional space that you had to work with in that moment. Of
Yeah.
course, hindsight being 2020, we all listen. My hindsight being 2020, of course, we would do things differently, but guess what? It was those experiences that allowed us to learn,
Yeah.
right? So we first have to say, it was a learning that I now know better, so I can do better. I
Yeah.
now understand where I was when I made that choice to react that way or respond that way.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know, I
Yeah.
didn't have all the information. A lot of times we are operating out of a space of not knowing all the information,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
And and then and also not knowing what we're truly feeling or experiencing. So that's why I often say this, and I've heard it. I'm not the author of this statement, but when emotions are high, logic is low.
yeah.
Let me say it
Yes.
again. When
Very
emotions
true.
are high, logic is low. We often operate out of our emotions, right? And we make choices out of emotion, not really taking a step back to really process what's happening. And let
Hmm.
me really, really get into a space where I can actually talk with someone to articulate what I believe I'm seeing or what I'm experiencing and the fullness of the information so that I can make a healthy choice.
Yes.
Right.
Wait,
But
Nadia, can I just say really quick because I just want to challenge you a little bit. So, so, I always hear that as well. What is it? When intelligence is
well, with
high,
emotions,
Emotion.
when emotions are high, a lot. Okay,
logic is
intelligence.
Logic is
Okay. So oftentimes, I know sometimes, like, and I just want to, I'm going to speak from my reference, or just coming from some of the things that I had gone through. Um, Most of the time, I view things from a logical perspective and not from emotional perspective. And I did that because I didn't want to connect to my emotions or did not know how to connect to my emotions because it was a painful place. So to me, it was like it was rational to like think, to make certain decisions out of logic. Okay, well, let me see if this makes sense. If it's black and white, it makes sense. But if I have to connect to my feelings, connect to my emotions, connect to my heart, then sometimes it did not make sense because of the space that I was in at the time. So it's very interesting. So when you mention that, it's like, so sometimes for people, they may operate out of a logical space and not necessarily emotional space. And sometimes the emotions can be high, but then it's like sometimes how do you connect back to your emotions? But sometimes, it's good to make choices and operate in your emotions, not all the time, but from a healthy, like emotional intelligence. How to be emotional intelligent and connecting to your emotions, connecting with other people. So I just wanted to challenge that statement a little bit and kind of ask your opinion on what it is. I know we're going to be closing out this topic, but I just wanted to ask your opinion on that really quick. What do you say to those who are not connected emotionally?
Good. Great question. So it is all about the balance of it all, right? So there are individuals who are walking through with a numbness, right? And
Mm-hmm.
you might have met individuals like that or interact with them, right? And sometimes that comes out of a space of survival. Some people
Mm.
go, we have listen, we know people, we may be the people who have gone through some real traumatic trauma in this life, right?
Woo.
And
Yes.
so disassociating has been a way of survival, right? And so even that requires a person to once again find a safe space so that you can reconnect with your feelings and once again get into articulation.
Yeah.
It's not that the emotions are bad or that we want to push away emotion, because the emotions come to give us some form of communication of what's going on in the moment or what was going on. But we have to
Mm-hmm.
be willing to be with it. You can be with your emotions. I say to clients, and I remind myself that emotions and feelings are simple. They're crayon. They're colors. This is the
Mm-hmm.
color, how we're going to color the moment and be with the moment. But yet we don't have to let the moment take hold of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can begin to learn how to handle and manage ourselves with those feelings that we're having and not allow it to run us, right?
Wow.
And it's a practice. That's going back to what was shared earlier about not allowing the being with the person. If you don't forgive someone, not allowing for them and the feeling that you have towards them to see you running, right? That's right. You shouldn't have to leave a space or run because you see someone and you know that there's not a clearing between the two of you all, or that when you see them you go back into that history that you once shared or that moment, right? So, with that being said, we have to begin to handle that emotion, and it's a daily practice. Forgiveness is a daily practice because those memories can show up when you least expect it. And
Yes.
Yes.
sometimes those memories can impact a whole nother relationship, a whole nother circumstance or situation. And if you don't reconcile and get clearing, and like I said, a daily practice of it, it will take hold of you. And before you know it, you're operating out of that history and not the
Mm.
right now moment. And we want to make sure everyone is able to have the life that they desire and the life that they know they want to have. Not that
Yeah.
they're operating out of that pain and hurt and
Mhm.
sorrow, or even guilt or shame.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow, we
Yeah.
dealt so much with forgiveness. I guess that is one of the keys for closure. Have we talked about closure at all? Closure in relationships. Well, forgiveness definitely plays a vital role in having closure to relationship. And I cannot help but to think, and obviously someone that is watching this or that will watch this show needs to hear a lot about forgiveness and needs to hear, some key aspects about forgiveness. And also, I thought about going back to when we talked about the open relationship. I just got to mention this right quick. It came up in my mind, in my thought when here in IKEA, when some things, and especially dealing with going around, around, around. And, just from experience, you could really, you can identify when you've gone through and you can identify, with the subject, with the information. But, and I'm not going to say because I don't know the stats, but I can say with, probably with a lot of women in particular, just by watching the body language, like we mentioned earlier from that young lady. And I know we got to close out this topic, but this is important because there may be some people out there that could be contemplating open relationship for all the wrong reasons. It was really right, but all the wrong reasons. And but just by observing her body language and to see how she seemed like there was some discomfort there, just even discussing it. And if you're free in it and you're in it, then obviously, there shouldn't be any discomfort there because you chose that particular type of relationship instead of, a monogamous relationship. And so I would say that some women in particular, I can't really say much about for men, but I can definitely guarantee and bet that a lot of closure and forgiveness have not been done on their side. But I would say for a woman, because I am one, to be okay with it, but not be okay with it. Like you just like, okay. I would say that you hadn't dealt with a lot. You hadn't closed a lot. A lot of things have not been closed pertaining to relationships that are intimate or that are close to you. And so if someone show you a hint of that you desire, that love that you desire, but they just show you a hint of it, you're okay with it because that's what you want. But yet their thing is, hey, but I'm going to show this to other people as well, and you have to be okay with that. But because you feel like you can't find it anywhere else, you can only find it there, you'll accept it. And so that can definitely tie into you not forgiving yourself for a lot of things, being in a certain relationship that you shouldn't have been in, and you wasn't loved the way you needed to be loved. You accept it, so that means that you didn't love yourself the way that you should have loved yourself. So I think it's very important that we have closure in relationship. We have forgiveness of ourselves and of others because it is certainly not for that person, but it's for ourselves. And once we can
Mhm.
forgive, ourselves and forgive the other people, we can accept and we can be introduced to that love. We could be introduced to whatever it is and wherever we want to go in life. So it's extremely important to forgive. That's like, there's no way around it. That is how the universe is created. There's nowhere, no way around forgiveness. So thank you, Nakia, for that information. I'm sure I was helped. I'm sure the ladies were, and many, many fans out there. And so we're going to move on to another very serious topic that so many of us are dealing with today. And that is cycles in our families pertaining to mental health illnesses.
Yes.
Oh my God. And if I tell you on both ends of my family, on my mother's side as well as on my father's side, we deal with a lot of mental health illnesses. And so just to begin, it's a conversation, especially in our community, that is hard to have. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
so, Nakia, I remember you said articulation. So, where do we begin with that? Help us on that.
This is, especially this is great because I'm grateful that you all are having this conversation because it's important for people to know, and we talked about this before. It's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's okay to really communicate. I'm not okay. But
Mhm.
oftentimes, I know in my family, they, once would say, "Go, oh, it's gonna be all right. God gonna take care of it. Go pray about it," and or send you on a fast and pray and all
Mhm.
those. I don't take anything away from that. That can be that's a part of the process. But we do need to make it okay that going to talk with someone that it's okay to take the stigma away from that because we have been hurting as a community. We
Yes.
have been
Yeah.
the walking wounded. Black and
Yes.
brown people have been wounded emotionally, and we continue to be
Mhm.
impacted by even the society that we're living in. I mean, the things that we are. It's not even a request that's demanded of us.
Hmm.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
killing, the shootings, that impacts our psyche, and
Yes.
yet we are expected to carry on,
Yes.
as if nothing, and to believe that this is what's being demanded of us, and
Hmm.
that's why we have to be able to create spaces where people can really come and share their truth
Yeah.
because oftentimes we see behaviors that we may not agree with, whether it be addiction, whether it be people having anger outbursts, and people saying they
Yeah.
say, "Oh, he's so angry," or "She's so angry." You don't understand. Well, have we ever has they had an opportunity really to express themselves? Do
Mhm.
we know
Right.
what they're going through? Wait, we don't know the pain points that a person may be experiencing. So I mean, and I'm so honored, and I do mean that. I'm honored when people come in and I can create a safe space where they can have their truth. And when
Yeah.
you hear their truth and what they've
Mhm.
had to mask for so
Mhm.
long, you
Yeah.
understand how they found themselves in certain spaces and places. And you understand why they're behaving the way that they're behaving. You're like, oh, sometimes I hear some things, I'm like, oh, that's it. That's all you doing? You, seriously, because some people are really going through some
Yeah.
real heavy things. And
Everything.
I find that when they're not made out to be crazy, see, we do that. I
Mhm.
know people, we do that to our people. And we become very dismissive. Oh, she just
Yes.
crazy. Or he
Yes.
just crazy.
Yeah.
Or that's just the way he is.
Mhm.
That's not going to work moving forward.
Yes.
That's not going to work in our communities moving forward until we
Yes.
can learn how to be with them and to direct them to the resources that they need. We're not going to see the change that we deserve to see in our families and in our communities. But we have to take the
Wow.
stigma away.
So
Yeah.
Nike, I just want to
Yeah.
say this. What you're saying is so powerful. I mean, I wish we could stay on this topic because I have so much to say. I'm sure all of us have so much to say. But I remember going through. I had to go through CASA, which is a court-appointed children advocate. So one of the things that they taught us is oftentimes we say to a person, "What is wrong with you?" And I cannot stand when somebody say that, like, "Oh," but instead of saying what is wrong, ask them what has happened to you.
Mhm.
Because it's not, we tend to look at just because, someone, if they're angry or if they're blocked in some way, whether it's communication, emotions, or love or whatever, instead of saying, what is wrong with you? Because we have a tendency of saying what's wrong, then we should learn how to connect and say what has occurred in your life, what has happened to you. Because then you get to open up the dialogue to find, and then you connect with them emotionally on an emotional level, and especially like you indicated, the Black and Brown community, we sometimes forget how to connect because our history and what we came from, we learn how to disconnect. We learn how to, so it's like we carry that not only from 400 years ago, but also from our parents, what we have learned from them, what they have learned. So this is like the cycles. Now the cycles are coming in, and
Yeah.
we're going into this pattern, like you indicated, the holding pattern, because of what we have learned, and also what we have saw. So it, like you indicated, Nike, it is okay sometimes not to be okay, but learn when you need to, make a change. And I
Yeah.
remember when someone said to me, I was having a coaching session with they were bishops and husband and wife, and one thing she said to me was there was some psychological damage, and I was like, I was pissed off, like, don't tell me, no one want to hear that, no one want to hear you're depressed, you got some issues or whatever, and it was a hard thing to hear, but it, after spending some time, to myself and kind of identify where that came from and why she was saying it, and she had to help me connect back to what has occurred in the past, which I thought I had dealt with. But when she said that, I felt like she was putting a stigma on me. And it wasn't necessarily she was putting a stigma, but she was identifying what needed to be corrected or what needed to be healed, not corrected per se, but what needed to be healed. And that's what took me on this journey of healing, because of those things from the past, because I didn't realize I was carrying this story from the past of my parents, of 400 years ago, and we still want to say today, like, operating as slaves or whatever it is. It's like we carrying a story that is important to heal that story so we can begin to move forward and become our most successful people, whoever we are meant to be, because every single one of us has a purpose. And it's like sometimes you can identify the purpose if you're still in a golden pattern, as Nakia said, if you're still I don't like to use the word broken. I don't like to use that word neither, but it's true. But if you're still dealing with some things in the heart space, in the mental space, it is so important to go through the work and get some, some healing. Just talk to someone, and it is okay to talk to someone, because we all have a greater purpose, and we can identify that purpose. It's important to understand your identity, not just where you come from, but who you are today and what your purpose for. Not, what do you want to do? What is it that you want to accomplish tomorrow? And if you can identify with that, then you begin to do the work. I think sometimes people are confused with not understanding what they want to do tomorrow. And I think you mentioned that, Nike. It's like, what is it that you want to do? You can identify and agree to say, I want to get married. I want a business. I want to be, a dancer, whatever it is. If you can identify it, then you can begin to understand what's stopping you, what's holding you back from those actions to move forward in that purpose.
Yeah. I, yeah. I want to mention also, Nakia, how, um, or ask a question. How can you begin when you do detect that, especially in the family? We're talking about breaking cycles here. When you do detect that, and of course, we can be um, the first one to begin, the breaking of the cycle in the family. If we know, like, you know, mental health, that is a chain that's linked throughout, and it can be hereditary. So it can skip a generation, it can go to the next, from one generation to the very next, or it can skip. But I want to know how can you start off that conversation with the family member if you detect certain things that are related to a mental health illness?
Well, I think one of the ways is just to one check in with them, but not necessarily as in going along with Kaneen was saying, knowing how to ask the question, knowing how to check in, and doing the homework. I think oftentimes the more that we're equipped and knowledgeable about mental health and how to open up the conversation, and how to communicate, sometimes just being with a person, allowing
Mm-hmm.
them to sit next to them and not run away from them.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge,
Yeah.
right? Um, Also to be able to get in that world. Sometimes a person wants to be able to know that you see them and you can connect with them. And
Yeah.
it may be the open door that we just need, the spacing that we just need, to see what they're up to. Not so much of um, what their element is or what's mentally weighing them down, but just seeing what's going on in their world, asking about certain things in their world so that
Mm-hmm.
they can get a connection with you. And then once they get a connection with you, then people tend to open up more with
Yeah.
you because you're willing to enter into their world. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're not willing to enter in their world, but yet you want to ask them about something made that be very sensitive, it can be intrusive as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to being welcoming. I shared with the person the other day that intruding on someone and being welcomed into a space are two different things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you have to allow someone to welcome you and ask permission. May I?
Yeah.
How may
Mm-hmm.
I be of support to
Yeah.
you?
Mhm.
How may I, assist you? I see you're hurting.
Yeah.
What may I do that can allow for this pain to be eased a bit? And then
Yeah.
allow for that to be the beginning of the conversation in that respect. Also, sometimes it's that you must I have to go first. That's what I say all the time. Sometimes a person needs you to go first and to share and be vulnerable so that
Yeah.
they feel permission to be vulnerable with you.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to you allowing them to having them to speak. Sometimes it's like, you know what? I know what it feels like to go through such and such. I went through a season where such and such occurred with me, and then I'm going to be very honest and transparent. You know, I tell people the time, I have a counselor, I have a therapist, I keep one.
Yeah.
Yes, the therapist has a therapist. This is
Yeah.
true. Things
It's
happen.
important.
I'm a whole human being. That has challenges, and it's okay once again to go and sit and talk with someone and have a safe space to land. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
so grateful that I have that space. And so why do I even share that right now? Is because when I begin to normalize that going to speak to someone is okay,
Yeah.
oh, all of a sudden I see all the people around me,
Yeah.
people I never thought in my family that would go and speak to someone, begun to go speak to someone because I was very transparent. I gotta get off this. I gotta go talk to my therapist. They're like, therapist, like you said that out loud, like like
Yeah.
said that.
Mhm.
No,
Mhm.
I'm gonna let you. I'm going to let you all know it's okay.
It's okay.
It's
Yeah.
okay to be
Mhm.
honest about what your support systems look like. And
Yeah.
so when it's not something like a dirty little secret or something that you're, hushing away, like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
no. 2 weeks, at such and such time, I have a date. It's a long-standing date, and it's been a long-standing date for over 10 years,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. And because of that, I've learned. I have tools in my toolbox of how to handle situations. I've had a safe space in which to deal with some of the past, right? And as a
Mhm.
result, I know I have had a transformative life because of it. And I
Yeah.
always say to individuals, you too can have a transformative life if you allow yourself to
Yeah.
do so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Serious Kate, did you have anything to add to that topic?
No, she actually said some of the things that I was thinking. I was just, I was saying to myself, there's healing through transparency, healing for you and the other person. If you just sit down and have a conversation and be transparent with them, they'll be transparent with you. There's healing in transparency. That's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
We're
That is
in it
so
together.
true. Hey,
Mhm.
that's a part of our vision, motto, mission of this show, Heart, Mind, and Voice Show. Heal the heart, renew the mind, all through the power of transparency.
Yeah.
So it's got to come out. It's got to come forth. This is how we get saved.
Yes.
This is how we begin to take those steps when we do not want to continue to be an addict of some sort, of any. I'm talking from alcohol to drugs, sex. Okay?
You know what? Listen, everyone knows I'm very transparent. I'm on a celibacy journey, okay? Everyone knows I live this, I love it, but I'm very transparent with it. I love the topic. I love to talk about it.
Listen, let me say this. Sex is healthy. Sex is healthy.
Yeah,
It's about
Ah,
where and when. It's a thank God for sex. We wouldn't be here, right? Literally.
right, right.
that's right.
One that has that, and we want to keep that's a good healthy behavior. We just want you to all to be
Right,
healthy in doing it. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we all
You know,
healthy.
right.
we have to have a topic one day on celibacy and masturbation. Can you really, masturbate if you're celibate? So we really have to have a healthy conversation.
That's
This is good, and it's great to be able to have healthy conversations like this because you
Yeah.
know what? That's another thing that, very quickly, that's part
Mhm.
of the issue within our communities as well. The challenge is that people are dealing with these things secretly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You all have probably heard the quote, "You're only as sick as your secret."
Yes.
So
You know
Yeah.
people,
what?
I
Girl, you
would
better say it
say,
again.
what's your secret?
you're only
Woo!
as sick as your secrets. So you tell me
Mhm.
you're a person that's sick, and it's like, okay, what secrets are you holding? What are you withholding? What are you withholding? You're keeping to yourself and you're hiding away because people go into a certain type of space because they don't want to be found out. They don't want to handle or deal with it. So they go and tuck themselves
Mhm.
away and begin to have habits because they're trying to handle the secret or the pain that they're holding or withholding
Ooh.
from
Hmm.
individuals or
Yeah.
from society. Yeah. So
Yeah.
How
yes,
you gonna wait? I can't. How you gonna start with that? Like we done went to the whole show, and you gonna begin a whole nother. Like how you gonna end with a nugget? Like I mean, that's powerful. I'm like you just.
we'll have to come back for that one. We'll talk about that.
But definitely when we have that celibacy and masturbation conversation, you must come back. Because if we don't have some type of structure, Lord help us all. Not Kim, we beg you to come back on that. And we're going to talk about, we'll include sex in marriage, to top it all off. Because sex is a great thing and it's wonderful in marriage. So thank you so much, Nakia, for your wisdom, your expertise. I mean, thank you for the information. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for being here tonight. We really truly appreciate it. Again, we just want to
You give
mention.
her information too, a Nike information before we end.
Oh yes, oh yes. If you want to find me, you can find me on the internet at NayaKidBrown.com, and I'll spell that for you. That's Naya Kid spelled N like in Nancy, YAKYA Brown, BROWN.com. Or you can email me. You can email me at nbrown, L as in Larry, M as in Mary, H as in hurry, C LMAC at gmail.com.
Thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
Absolutely. And we also want to just remind everyone of our business spotlight tonight candle, Crystal Nicole's Candles and
Yes.
Scents. Wonderful candles. We know mostly everybody love candles, and she has them for all types of events. So certainly, to promote or support her in purchasing candles, please support Not Kill. We know that someone in your family, if not you, Queen A, needs some help. So certainly reach out to Naya. Our information, both their information is in the comments. We hope that you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube page, as well as like and share on Facebook. We are doing a prize giveaway. We've had a lot of technical issues, so certainly send us an email to heartmindvoiceshow at gmail.com and let us know one particular topic that we discussed tonight. And then tell us a little bit about how it has impacted your life. So definitely send us an email at heartmindvoiceshow at gmail.com. Let us know one topic, not all, but just one, about what we discussed tonight and how it made an impact to your life tonight. So we thank you so much, ladies, for being a part. We thank you, fans out there, for watching and supporting. Continue to watch and support. And we will be back on this journey next Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. Central, as well as 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And on that note, any more comments, Queen A?
I see. I behaved today. I was very good.
Okay, y'all,
Thank
we're
you, Nakia. Thank you, Crystal, for
Good
joining us.
night.
Thank you, audience. We love you. Have a good night, a blessed night, everyone.
absolutely.